All right, so let's talk about MLK's legacy and how his legacy is whitewashed routinely. So don't forget that he was literally fucking assassinated. And during the time of his assassination, despite the fact that all these conservatives now act like they are pro MLK, during the time of his, and even liberals, during the time of his assassination, he was regarded as a deeply unfavorable person. The civil rights movement is now seen as an honorable cause, obviously, and it was, but back then, not so much. They, and by they I mean the media and most of the people that were around back then, the overwhelming majority, if you will, were regarded the civil rights movement as aggressive, violent. You could basically utilize the exact same terms used against Black Lives Matter protests and defund the police right now, depending on who you are trying to criticize, as the exact same as the criticisms launched against MLK and his movement during the civil rights movement. In 1976, he was considered one of the most hated men in the country, according to a poll at the time. Yes, 67% of the country, after his assassination, regarded him as regarded him in unfavorable terms. 67%. We will talk about his economic equality initiatives. So basically the same shit as BLM? Yes. Bernice King. A cartoon from 1960s. Because my father and his nonviolent strategy were so beloved by America and white power structure before he was assassinated, I plan to lead another nonviolent march tomorrow.
I'm hungry.
Dead men make such convenient heroes? Exactly. Of course they do. Because they can't be alive to correct the record. Listen, guys. This is a country where some states, still have MLK Day be regarded as Robert E. Lee Day. Okay? I think it's Mississippi, right? That still has it.
Okay.
Tuesday, January 19th,
Hassle.
is Robert E. Lee's birthday. Okay? The holiday is observed in the United States South, particularly in Alabama and Mississippi. It is a legal holiday in the Florida statute books, even though it's not observed. Alabama and Mississippi celebrated together with Martin Luther King Jr. Day. Arkansas has combined the observance of Robert E. Lee Day with Martin Luther King Jr. Day in 1985. Why do you think they do that? Why do you think they do that?
At HasanAbi, look up the letter he wrote to his then fiancée, basically telling her he was a Marxist. He wanted her to know what she was getting into.
Just remember that is what I'm trying to say. One of the states changed it. I can't remember which one it was. Went to MS High School during 2013. Was in our school plan and mentioned it as Robert E. Lee Day instead of MLK Day. Yeah. Why do you think that is? We talked about this over the summer. What is this? Oh, I did talk about it last year. 360 no scope. That shitter. Let me tell you something. Let me tell you a little something about Mississippi. All right? Let me tell you a little something about Mississippi. First of all monuments of the Confederacy should be burned and no longer exist. It was short-lived, luckily. It's bullshit. It's a treasonous terrorist flag. God damn it. It's a terror. You know what? Here, let me put this on too so you understand a little bit better. I don't want no motherfucking terrorist flag in my goddamn country. These guys are pussy coward losers who lost. They fucking lost.
Based.
The real Republican, Abraham Lincoln, kicked their goddamn asses. What the fuck is next? You're gonna put an ISIS flag on my Mississippi flag? That's what Obama wanted. Oh, Bobby. He wanted an ISIS flag. We said no, damn it. Why the fuck would I believe in telling my child that there's no libtard place for second place trophies in my household, but then turn around and put up a participation trophy such as the Confederate flag? It's for fucking losers. You got fucking owned by Republicans. It's a Democratic, Dixiecratic monument. Why the fuck would I want that? Not in my backyard, brother. That's not the American way. Okay? So that's one. Number two, why the fuck does the state of Mississippi still celebrate Robert E. Lee Day in place of MLK Day? Robert E. Lee was a traitorous, treasonous fucking coward. Not only did he own slaves, which the Republicans saved. By the way, I realized that I could just like play old clips of myself because there's so many fucking head asses in America that I could just run old clips of myself over and over again. Because in the course of 1 year, I just keep repeating myself over and over again. And it just, Robert Lee Day is January 19th and MLK is the third Monday in January. But he got fucking owned. No, in some states, they celebrate it together, though. Why the fuck would I celebrate a fucking loser when I could be celebrating MLK Day, who's a Republican, by the way? Goddamn Commie E. Lee Day? What the fuck?
Hasan for inspiring me to work harder every day.
Real Republicans, brother. Yes. This is a real day.
Hey, Bernard Shapiro here.
Robert E. Lee Day is a day that they
OC?
celebrate in Mississippi instead of MLK Day.
Thanks for getting us through the last couple months, Ajahn Hassel.
Arkansas combined the observance of Robert E. Lee Day with MLK Day in 1985 after 2 years of requiring state employees to select between two holidays or their own birthday as a day off from work. Why would they do that, you think? Now, let me tell you something.
Hey, Mr. Ajahn. Hey, Mr.
Now, let me tell you
Hey,
something.
Mr. Arjan. Hey, Mr. Arjan.
Even this
You are not
fucking slave-owning, treasonous, terrorist, coward, Antifa coward, Tommy E. Lee, even he in his deathbed had the wherewithal to know that there should be no monuments left to the Confederacy and to himself. Not only that, but even his children, even his children themselves, his descendants, don't think that this is a smart thing to do. This is America, damn it. We must come together. Burn all them fucking monuments to the Confederacy. No place for losers in our country, goddammit. There you go. Send that to all the Trump supporters going forward. Just like clip that entire part and send it to the Trump supporters, and maybe you can change their minds. Okay? I'll rest my case. I stole that take from Hank Pecker months ago. You for the destruction of all Confederate iconography, why not place most of the museums and put them in context? Isn't it most important that people see that they existed, that they're racist, and understand why they're racist? So, can I ask you something? I'm going to definitely do the Hitler question. Put the hat back on. Sorry. Let's see. Let's see what I said. I don't remember, but... You know there's no statues of Hitler in fucking Germany. And those guys are German. Therefore, they're Euro cucks. They don't have no statues of Hitler. You don't see them celebrating statues of Hitler. Do you think people in Germany don't know Hitler existed? Are you telling me that without statues and without monuments placed specifically and suspiciously around times of racial turmoil in America, outside of courthouses, to tell black people you are not welcome here,
McDonough, Georgia,
are actually the only way we can remember these fucking losers? Huh? You gonna tell me we're worse than the goddamn Germans? Are you fucking kidding me? Okay. The Trump administration is marking Martin Luther King Day by putting out a report that defends the founding fathers for owning slaves and attacks the civil rights movement. This is an administration racist to the core. It's pretty sad and pretty pathetic that, yeah, you worked hard and you made it. What? It's just so, it's like a dying fucking movement, a dying admin that's on its way out, and even on its last dying breath, they're still like, they're just trying so hard. Hello, it is high time. Just joined Chata. Thanks for posting live stream every day. Thanks, last name Lee, not even Asian. The 1776 Commission report is completely insane. It basically equates progressives, fascists, and communists. Also states that fascism died in 1945 and America was always entirely opposed to fascism. Yeah, okay. Except for Trump and his supporters, I guess. And also the Republican Party in general. Yeah. America has always been opposed to fascists and terrorists and racists. But also at the same time, Trump literally fucking vetoed a military bill because he was upset that part of it was like literally throwing a little bit of scraps at anti-racist protesters by changing the names of American military bases that were named after straight up racist white supremacist terrorists. That's cool. Yeah, I'm done with the real estate lady. At least the mask-off conservatives are honest about their hatred for MLK instead of hand-wringing about his advocacy for peaceful protests over violence. I mean, most of the mask-off conservatives still will say, you know, shitting on MLK is seen as racist, understandably, because it is. And most Republicans don't do that anymore. That would be too stupid for them to do. What do you think about banning money hoarding, forcing people to spend if they go over a number 100 million? It doesn't matter because wealth in this country is not associated with liquid cash. It's wealth is your assets that you own. So technically, you could just like fucking consider that to be spending. It's not like Jeff Bezos is having his wealth sit around. Anyway, from the paper, the most common charge leveled against the founders and hence against our country itself is that they were hypocrites who didn't believe in their stated principles and therefore the country built rests on a lie. This charge is untrue and has done enormous damage, especially in recent years, with devastating effect on our civic unity and social fabric. What is this?
America elected Joe Biden by over 7 million votes.
I don't want to watch this. This shit probably sucks. I can't watch that shit, dude. It's got like 200,000 retweets. It's going to have like dramatic piano music in the background. It's going to be some lip sleeper shit for 9 minutes. Dude, I can't do that. Look at how horny Austin is for it. The MyPillow CEO responds and tells Ursula Perano, I want Dominion to put up their lawsuit because we have 100% evidence that China and other countries use their machines to steal the election. I hope he gets his ass sued into oblivion, dude. It would be fucking sick. Anyway. Yeah, I can't watch that shit. I'm sorry. Okay, what is this? Sears RPing as Hank Pecker? Let's see what this is.
There's a whole family.
Hank Pecker, ready to defend his rights and his land. Entire family armed. There's my 30 caliber bolt action rifle, 30 caliber bolt action 700 with a carbon 1 modification, state-of-the-art handheld tactical scope. And each one of my family members has one. Hank Pecker's ready to kill any man at any moment while holding the Bible in his other hand.
Family of preppers who also take their cues from the Bible. McDonough, Georgia.
That was
There's
cute.
a whole family.
Hank Pecker, ready to defend.
Little girl. I mean, she's gonna grow up to be a total fucking freak, unfortunately, but all gas no breaks was out today at the Second Amendment protest. I saw him on a live stream today on Status Quo. YouTube clapped him and killed the stream. What? Can you dedicate a 6-minute segment to Margot Robbie? What? I think I'm gonna ban this person. They're so fucking weird, dude. I mean, aslında şu bir ama yorum okuması için seni kandırmak istedim. They're so weird. Just shut the fuck up for a little bit, okay? You fucking weirdo. That's the same guy who was like, why don't you take Texas to Canary Island? Open the tables. Trump is pardoning 100%, 100 people tomorrow. Margot Robbie. Can you talk about the anti-Semitic Hotep, new head of the DOJ Civil Rights Division? Wait, what? Lil Wayne reportedly get presidential pardon tomorrow, no joke, for his 2020 firearms conviction. I mean, what do you want me to discuss about that? It's like a win-win for Donald Trump. He gets to pardon a black person that's famous, make it seem like he's like pro-black. Lil Wayne literally gets a pardon because he was pro-Trump, and that's it. We already know how Donald Trump operates. That's just all it is. Has HasanAbi seen his old debate with Kirk saying that conservatives protest peacefully? What did I say? I'm willing to bet that you are misconstruing my words. Like you're misrepresenting my position. Trump going to pardon Leonard Peltier. The drought is over. They hand out pardon like fucking Golden Globes and Emmys now. You mean Charlie Kirk said conservatives protest peacefully? Anyway, Hannibal Buress, Christina Applegate, shout out. Hey, can you talk about Eva Elfie? Interested in her? Okay, shut up. All right. I'm looking at the chat too much, and chat's being fucking weird and cringe. Anyway, let's watch. I have a dream. Let's watch Martin Luther King's son talk about the other dream that he had.
Martin Luther King Jr. is celebrated as a champion for civil rights. But today, I want you to think about a different part of my dad's legacy. Something that you may not know, but it's more relevant today than ever. His fight against poverty and income inequality.
But if a man doesn't have a job or an income, he has neither life nor liberty and the possibility for the pursuit of happiness.
When my father was shot in 1968 in Memphis, he was crusading for higher wages for black sanitation workers. Their work conditions were abysmal. Low pay, no sick leave, and many were on welfare. In a speech to the workers, Dad said the issue is injustice. The issue is the
refusal of Memphis to be fair and honest in its dealing.
By the way, this is why police are class traitors. For those of you who don't know, you can look at this in two different ways. One, you can look at it as like cops, being white supremacists, and that's fair, and they are often. But when there was a larger, more robust, and often militant labor union in this country, where there were actual labor union demonstrations, and it wasn't 6 people standing outside in a tent outside of like a GM factory saying like, shame on you, GM. When these demonstrations had hundreds or thousands of people, cops would line up and do a show of force on behalf of the interests of those who own capital. They would escort scabs in through the picket line. This is why cops, despite the fact that they themselves are working class, are regarded as class traitors from a leftist point of view.
To be fair and honest.
This is why.
In its dealings with its public servants.
Today, my dad is revered, but in 1968, he was deeply unpopular. 2/3 of Americans disapproved of him.
Oh, I've been hit so many times, I'm immune to it.
The FBI said he was a communist, but he kept protesting anyway. I traveled with him as a kid throughout Georgia in preparation for the Poor People's Campaign. The idea was to rally people to Washington to press the federal government to provide jobs and income for the poor. This was his other dream, but he did not live to see it come to fruition.
And not only was his other dream never realized, his other dream is also not mentioned. Okay? And that's the other horrible fucking whitewashing of his history is that Martin Luther King is never talked about as an anti-imperialist hero. Okay? Because he was. Not only was he deeply aligned with the cause of anti-imperialism, he was by today's standards and even by that day's standards, I would go so far as to say pro Ho Chi Minh. Okay? Like, he was also a fucking democratic socialist. But, again, none of that is ever mentioned. So when people say like, oh, dude, you're a class reductionist, whatever, remind yourself that, you are advocating for the exact same things that MLK was advocating for, but history, for some weird reason, liberal capitalist history, for some fucking weird reason, happens to never talk about that part of MLK's legacy. I wonder what it is. I wonder why. My union bankrolled most of the civil rights movement. UAW led the way. People who had my direct position changed the world. MLK wrote the I Have a Dream speech in our headquarters and gave the first version of the speech in Detroit. AFSCME was trying to organize the sanitation workers he was working with when he was assassinated. Yeah.
I think if my father saw the issues of poverty and income equality that exist today, he would be greatly disappointed. Back then, 25 million people were living in poverty. But today, it's close to 40 million, and some say it's much higher, while billionaires pay a lower tax rate than the working class. Americans who teach our kids, deliver our food, drive our buses, are struggling.
It is a crime for people to live in this rich nation and receive starvation wages.
If we really want to celebrate Martin Luther King Jr. Day and the principles that my father stood for, our whole government needs to step up. From creating a cabinet position focused on fighting poverty to passing a universal basic income.
There's nothing new about poverty. What is new is that we now have the techniques and the resources to get rid of poverty. The real question is whether we have the will.
Oh my God, the people that are fucking immediately, the people that hear UBI and go Yang Gang are nearly as cringe as the motherfuckers who are conservative that like, not as cringe, but almost as cringe. Like, it's not just about a guaranteed income. It's not just about universal basic income, guys. His vision of changing the world revolved around workers' rights, not whatever kind of neoliberal libertarian substitute program that Andrew Yang was advocating for until recently. Maybe he'll change it. And I do think he's a nice person. I think Andrew Yang is a kind individual. But the moment that you're anti-Medicare for all, or the moment that you find yourself in opposition of the $15 minimum wage at the federal level, I don't see you as someone who is I don't see you as someone who is by my side, but I see you as someone who opposes the things that I believe, the things that I want to do. Bodega Andy gonna save the world, bro. Bodega. This is what you see, yeah. I mean, people write this. This is an article that gets, this is from 2017, but this is an article that gets rewritten. By the way, this is the editorial board of the Washington Post. But this is why the media is fucking disgusting for the most part. and absolutely a institution built to defend some of the more reactionary, more conservative parts of capitalism, the capitalist organization of the economy. Like, democracy dies in the darkness Andes over here, talking about how MLK Jr. was a true conservative. There was nothing conservative about MLK. There was nothing conservative about him whatsoever. So much so that he had smoke for the fucking moderate liberals too, the moderate whites who stood in opposition, or rather made it seem as though they were aesthetically on board with the cause, but tried to put a timeline on another man's plight for justice. So it's fucking bullshit whenever people say like, oh, he's the true conservative. Why? Because he's Christian, dude? So is radical liberal Raphael Warnock. So is Reverend Wright. These are all Christian pastors. Especially Reverend Wright.